Hi everyone, welcome to Chinatown Teacup. We are very excited to have you join this community that started by Benjamin's with his love to create a tea community. My name is Timothy and this is Boy's Tale. Um, we would love to have our first video to talk about brewing methods, the fundamentals of how we brew tea and the pros and cons to it. So, what is tea brewing? Tea brewing is easy. It's just a vessel, either is a bowl, or you go fancier, a gaiwan, or even a teapot. So the vessels with the tea leaf and hot water, and then your skill. And that's all about tea brewing. The most simplest form I ever encounter, and it's a very traditional way, is even just to use a bowl. This is a really fundamental way. In the old times, before there is a gaiwan or teapots, that's how people actually use, is a bowl. And they call it tea bowl, or dawan, which is big bowl in Koreans, or chawan in Japanese, which is again tea bowl. So how do you basically start this process? First, you need to have a good kettle. There's so many fancy kettle out there, but this is my kettle. The kettle for me is a very cheap, maybe even just under $40 kettle. The only difference about this kettle is it doesn't have all the gadgets of white tea, blue tea, green tea, yellow tea, pink tea. You press it, it goes to that temperature. I don't do that because I believe that if the tea cannot tolerate boiling water, it's not good tea. So we're gonna expand that concepts in the later channels and videos. But first, this is a boiling kettle. The water kettles, it goes very fast to boiling, full rapid boil. The only difference is the spouts. If you see the spouts of this thing, it's not one of those fancy, like, long elongated line, because those spouts cannot have a control of the speed and the energy to push out the water. So you have a spout like this, which is thick in the bottoms and thin in the top, that create a vortex when you pour water out. Simple as a demonstrations. If you pour water, you can see I can do a very thin line. I can do a bigger, stronger line, and then I can do a very big, strong gush into it. This is the three fundamental skills of pouring water. People will say, oh yeah, I've been pouring water for my whole life. But pouring water is basically a control of your own self and the elements. So if I want to have 3 cups in here and I want to have 3 different pouring, I can show you right now. This is called a stream. The stream cools down the water. You keep a very steady stream, and also is gentle to the tea leaf. This is like a 5 inches to your vessels. This is called, I would call a stream or a river. You can see there's starting to have bubbling going on in it because there's more energy going towards it. And this is like an ocean wave and going, and you can see it actually goes very fast into it. If you can master these 3 ways of pouring water, you're almost like, I would say 70% there to learn about and mastery of tea making. Okay, so what are the differences between the swells that you create? If I have a tea leaf in here, I give 3 little tea leaves inside here, and I show you the stream on the very tall end. It doesn't really help the rotations, but when you start to force this in, you can see the turbulence in it. But when you get stronger, you can actually see how it rotates the tea leaf. So brewing tea is to use hot water to surround and cover for steeping the leaf. If the water doesn't go into different cracks, you don't really have a kind of a gentle, equal brewing of all sizes of the tea leaf itself. So that's a very important step of it. So if I said that simple way of brewing tea is just using a bowl, the tea leaf itself right now in this bowl is already start to brew. Only 3 leaves in it, but you can see it unfurling. When it starts to unfurl, it starts to brew. And you can actually let this leaf fully unfurl, and you can just taste a little bit of it. If it's not strong enough, then leave it a little bit longer. If it's too strong, then you add more hot water in it, or you can pour that out. So this is a fundamental way of brewing tea leaf. Okay, now we go in to the more technical way of brewing tea using a gaiwan. What is a gaiwan? Gai is a lid, wan is a bowl. It's basically a lidded bowl. The lidded bowl has 3 components: the lid, the bowl, and the saucer. Okay, traditionally you actually drink out of this. You don't use it for just brewing for other people. You can just use the top to kind of push the leaf away so you can drink the contents of it, and the bottom of it, make sure that you don't burn yourself to hold it properly. So the first fundamental way of brewing, this is a competitions, or we call cupping way. Cupping way is a standard of testing tea in China, especially in Fujian area. This tea is from Anxi, Fujian. It's a Taekwonyin cultivar, oolong cultivars that grow in Xiping. You can see the ball shape of it is a very particular way of making oolong tea in these regions. So when you go to the farms or you go to the competitions, they all use 150 milliliter gaiwan, same as this one, and you basically use this as a cupping. So what would they first do is to rinse your leaf, right? If I'm doing our the second kind of pouring, which is a kind of a river pouring, you see how it swell up the tea leaf. It covered it, and it start to make it unfurl. The first brew, you discard. You can already see the tea is being extracted by the color in these white cups. That's called priming. Priming is when you rinse your tea and let the tea get ready to be brewed. And this stage, you can smell, look, and kind of see how the content of this tea look like, right? So after you have that, this tea has already been brewing inside, even though there's no hot water in it, because the hot water is already steeped into the tea leaf. It's already started to brew. So the first time when you brew this tea, you don't need a lot of time. You basically just need to watch the color of this leaf. You can see it unfurl even further at this point, right? There's a lot of online kind of parameter that, oh my God, when you touch the hot leaf, it's already brewing, you have to pour it out. Well, I think the best way to make a cup of tea is to find your own style and your own taste. For me, when you look into the white colors of the lid hitting the bowl, you can see the color of this tea. If the color is not what you want, or it's too light, that means the tea is not steep enough. If it's too dark, then you know that your next brew need to be lighter. So this is your first brew of tea. The color is bright. There's a cleanness visually to it, and you can kind of smell it. You see how this unfurled up like that, like that. So brewing tea is just learning from the first brew, which is your current brewing. The moment is now. You can taste this cup. This is for our intern, Bella. And if you think that this brew is what you like, then you can duplicate the next one using this as your base. If this is too strong, then make it quicker. If it's too light, then make it longer. So how you basically find your steps and your path to learn how to brew tea. I hope this helped the fundamentals of the three streams, the boiling water and your vessels. And the next video, we'll start introducing this tea to you. Thank you.